Hi, this is Ivey, the fulfillment artist, and in this video I'm going to teach you how to generate self-esteem and good self-talk. So in this video I wanted to look into what you need to stop doing and what you need to start doing instead. Because most people watching this video have negative self-talk and have all these negative beliefs about themselves. So we need to look into eradicating all of these crap things and reinstalling these new action steps for you to take to help move you forward. So let's look at the first one. Stop spending time with negative people. Negative people will literally drain your soul. I cannot tell you how important it is to stop it. The reason you are the way you are is because people have influenced you and had shitty negative beliefs that they have enforced upon you, like, oh, I'm not good enough, oh, I could never do this, I can't do that. And they're just these negative energy vampires that sap your soul. So get rid of them. Okay, because what will happen is if you keep spending time with these negative people, you're going to become a person that's just like them. And that's not what you want. You want something very different. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching this video. So instead, start being aware who you spend time with. Next, stop believing everything revolves around you. If you believe that everything revolves around you, you're going to suffer. There are so many people in the world, and do you really think that they are all caring and focusing on you 24/7? The amount of people that you see walking down the street and they're like, oh, is they looking at me? Are they judging me? Am I wearing the right thing? Wait, are they? And you're just so focused on you. And if you just focus on you, then you're gonna suffer. It's the me song. So what do you do instead? Start focusing on others instead of yourself. Next, stop thinking you need to be perfect. People have these beliefs that they need to be this perfect human being, that everything needs to be right, the hair needs to be a certain way, they need to do this, they need to make sure that they are proper and turn up exactly on time at every single meeting and they can't do anything wrong or say anything wrong. You are a human being. But most people forget about this. They think there's some sort of robot that has to get everything right. And it's such a shame because these people have such high standards that in fact it's no standard. Because when you have a standard of perfection, it's impossible to meet. So it's the lowest of all standards. So how do you move over this thing that you've forced yourself to be about trying to be perfect? Instead, start embracing your imperfections. Next, stop being so hard on yourself. There are so many people that just expect so much of themselves. They put themselves down for every little thing they do wrong. It doesn't matter how much they've done right. If they do one thing wrong, they're like, oh, idiot, why did I do that? Why did I do that? Why did I do that? Do you really think you're going to generate good self-talk and self-esteem by doing that? Of course not. So what do you need to do instead? Start celebrating the little things. Every little success that you have, you need to celebrate it. Next, stop focusing on what is missing. Our mind is built for survival, and we are constantly looking, no matter how much we have, oh, what am I missing? Because we adjust so quickly. I mean, if I give you an example, we get these phones, we have all these things, and as soon as we can't connect to the internet or the Wi-Fi isn't stable or something like that, we get so frustrated. Like, oh, why can't it be perfect? We get the biggest house, everything's going well, and we're like, oh, I just wish I had bigger windows. We always look for these things that are missing in life. So you need to reframe your mind and instead start becoming more grateful. Because from a grateful place, you don't need to worry about what's missing because you're finally accepting what you actually have. Next, stop doing shitty triads. So what do we mean by this? A triad is where you get stuck in a state. So let me quickly explain. A triad consists of three things. It's your focus. So what are you focusing on in that moment? the language that you say to yourself and your physiology. So people that continually suffer or get depressed, or they're feeling all these negative emotions, you need to change that triad. So instead of doing, oh, well, I'm slouched, I'm focusing on what I don't have, and I'm saying to myself, you're a failure, stand up, do some positive affirmations and walk forward and focus on the things in the future, or focus on what you do have. And switch that. Because if you can enable yourself to move out of these states, the faster you practice, the better you'll be at doing it. And this will really help generate that self-talk that you want for yourself and generate an incredible self-esteem. And what I've found is that there's one thing that you could do instead that'll be so profound in creating this change. And that is, you need to start working on your identity. Identity is such a core component. Once you work out what your identity is, okay, what is my perfect triad? Like, how do I stand? What do I focus on? What do I say to myself? Who am I? And you work on that, then you're going to create some massive change. Finally, stop listening to shitty things. What do I mean by this? I mean, stop listening to stuff that just puts you down. Stop listening to those people that are all negative. Stop listening to songs about people dying and all the crap that's going on. Stop listening to specific parts of the news that are just negatively influencing you all the time. Stop believing and stop listening to all these things in your life that are causing you to be a certain way. Because if you do that, that'll really help you move forward. So what do you need to do instead? Start using positive affirmations. And something that I learned recently, this is actually very, very cool, is that you say positive affirmations like, money flows to me in avalanches of abundance. Or, I am an outstanding, gardener or janitor or business owner, whatever it is. But make sure to, number one, first to use your body, use emotion and really go for it. But next is, I used to do affirmations for about 10 minutes in the day. But what about the other 23 hours and 50 minutes? I was like, interesting. I'd never thought of that before. It's amazing. It never crossed my mind. So now I've started to think, okay, well, when I'm walking, when I'm moving, your mind is constantly talking to you, whether you're aware of it or not. So be consciously aware and start practicing your affirmations even more. Because the more you do it, the more ingrained they'll be in your system. And then instead of you thinking, I need to generate good self-talk, you'll be generating it automatically. That's something really, really cool. So I would definitely say implement that. So out of everything I've said, rewatch the video, look at all the notes and think, okay, what do I need to start doing? And then, create some action steps to actually do that instead of watching passively and saying, oh yeah, well, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Actually implement it. Because what I've learned is that implementation is key for you to move forward. So with that, comment if you have any questions, and I look forward to speaking to you very soon. Thank you.